industry, and that's a massive inflow number. I think the net equity inflow number, 34,670. We've not seen, this is probably an all-time high, by the way, in terms of monthly inflows, because at the peak, these flows were touching 23,000, 24,000 thereabouts, and then there was a decline all the way to just about 19,000. 34,000 is absolutely massive, and it ties in with the other data releases that we're seeing from the exchange level as well, that, retail has been buying, through mutual funds or through direct, but retail has been buying all the dips in the lead up to the election result. And even after the election verdict volatility, we saw it was actually retail buying. And that's a very, very big number coming in on the mutual fund flows. Let's just look at some of the other numbers that are coming through. The flow in the large cap fund category continues to be fairly small. Large caps are not drawing the money, but it is, the mid and large caps, yes, they are getting more of the numbers. Large cap, I mean, yeah, it's increased month on month, but it's nothing compared to the other categories. The mid and large category, the multi-cap categories, they are the ones that are getting, okay, that's a very big NFO number as well. 10,000 crores coming in via the NFO route.
That's a massive number, right? 34,000 crores. The mid-cap number also actually 2,600 crores was the mid-cap fund flow, which is almost the highest since November of last year based on what I can see here. So substantial inflows. The mid-caps are drawing the money. The large caps, an increase from last month, but yes, as Surabhi highlighted, it continues to remain tepid as compared to mid and small caps. The mid-cap fund flow, there you can see 2,605. The number in November was 2,666. So it's almost at par with November of last year. So that is some positive data coming in there for the mid-cap. Hybrid fund flows also slightly lower on a month-on-month basis, but mostly flat, around 18,000 crores. They were 19,000 crores in the month of April as well. But the overall, the big number is the net equity inflow, which is almost at around 34,000 crores. There, big number coming in.
Absolutely. One of the big launches in the NFO category was the SBI Automotive Fund. And typically, whenever SBI does an NFO, expect large numbers to come in. So a lot of this flow would have been mopped up by that one fund. And then there have been other releases as well. The flows are back in the small cap category as well, as Hormaz also pointed out. Mid cap, small caps, they continue to get in the money. Large caps, I mean, contrast the 600 odd crores that's come into the large cap category. It's far sort of lower in comparison. So all in all, of course, the SIP number will come with a lag, but SIPs have been very steady, clocking, those steady sort of inflow figures of around 20,000 crores on a monthly basis. We'll get that number in a bit as well. But this is looking pretty good in terms of the MF inflows coming in, and a very sharp reversal of the trend of petering flows that we were highlighting over the last couple of months. It's very, very clear that when there was volatility, retail investors decided to go all in, and that's showing up in the equity inflow numbers as well. So more on this as we go along. Once we get the SIP number, we'll have more of a, oh, by the way, that's an important category as well. Hybrids are constantly attracting a lot of flows, and the industry as a group is focusing a lot on the multi-asset category and the hybrid category. For instance, balanced advantage. I mean, the communication from the industry has been about keeping asset allocation in focus, given the elevated levels that the equity market has been trading at. And it seems that communication is working, because hybrids are consistently getting good flows, including, of course, some of the multi-asset funds as well. And also, hybrids, in some of the hybrid categories, the taxation is far more favorable. You manage to get equity taxation because the bulk of the fund is either in equity or in arbitrage, and therefore the whole thrust is to look at hybrids as a very tax efficient way of taking exposure to both categories, I mean, equity and debt.
Having the best of both worlds, I guess, in terms of the hybrid funds, right? Almost 18,000 crores, not a bad number. It's still lower month on month, but still almost on at par with the flows in April. But there you can see the large cap, the main fund flow, the 34,000 crore number is the highlight of this release from AMFI. There, it's a record high, 34,671 crore as we speak. So, but we'll get more reactions as we get the SIP number as well. But we go back to Kinjal with our conversation. Kinjal, thanks a lot for staying by and being patient with the numbers that came out from AMFI. Oh, we get back to that as well. So the small cap funds there, 2,700 crores, the flows there as well. So numbers picking up for the small cap funds as well. They were a bit lower towards the month of March. They had seen some outflows. Then they had picked up in April at around 2,200 crores. Now they're at 2,700 crores as well. So mid and small caps continue to see healthy funds. But overall, the main inflow number is the big one.
The other category which is getting a lot of steady flow is Flexi Cap. By the way, this month, in the reporting month of May, Flexi Cap funds have gotten more money than large caps, mid caps, or small caps, the individual categories put together. So again, the narrative that allowed the fund manager flexibility to go across market capitalization, depending on where the fund manager finds good value at that point in time, looking at the market's construct and structure, that seems to be working, because 3,155 crores have come into the flexi cap category. Sectoral and thematic funds, yeah, look at the giant surge over here. 19,000 crores have flown into sectoral and thematic funds. A lot of that, I mean, as I explained, one of the big funds was this automotive fund coming in from SBI. But in general, a lot of thematic launches are happening, because remember that mutual fund houses are restricted. They can only have one fund per category. So if you have large cap, there can be one large cap fund, one mid cap fund. But you can have as many as you want in terms of sectoral and thematics, newer niche sort of themes on which fund houses can launch products. And that's what's happening. I mean, there's been a huge push on the sectoral and thematic category. Let's take a break. We'll try and get you some more perspective on these numbers as we go forward, but looking very good in terms of equity inflows for mutual funds in the month of May. Back in a moment. As promised, let's get back to those numbers coming in from AMFI. We have Abhishek Tiwari, Executive Director and Chief Business Officer at PGIM India Mutual Fund, joining in. Abhishek, great to have you with us. So that net equity number is massive. It's gone above 30,000 crores this time around, right? And that's a huge jump, considering we were in a bit of a declining trend so far this year. What do you think has gone behind it?
Oh, first of all, thank you for having me. I think what has gone behind it is the linearity of returns that continues to follow. I think we haven't really seen a trend which is one way down. But having said that, I think it also, in a manner of sorts, shows the evolution of the investors, where for every dip, there are new and new buyers. When you look at the folio numbers behind these, absolute sales numbers, you will realize what I'm talking is what is making sense. And in addition to that, I think the sectoral and thematic, stories and the narratives which are adding up to what is happening at the broader economy is clearly being able to drive the sales up.
Abhishek, good morning. Thanks a lot for joining in. The large cap funds, they may have picked up from the month of April, but they still remain pretty tepid in comparison to the mid caps and the large caps. There's a lot of consensus on the street going on that the large caps are the ones that offer more value compared to the mid and small caps, but the flows are suggesting completely otherwise.
Yeah, so I think there's always going to be that tussle between shorter term trends and longer term performance. The shorter term trend clearly suggests that the value available in the large caps versus the segment of the market which is small and mid cap, which has done a stellar run over the last 12 to 18 months in specific, clearly offers a lot more value. And I think as a fund house, we have been out there saying the same thing for over 6 months now, if not longer. So clearly there's more value when you think of looking at that segment from a risk return in the near to the medium term. But having said that, obviously the longer term picture, because of the 18 and 24 months performance in small and mid caps and also the thematic funds, is clearly painting a different picture for the investor.
Exactly. I was just coming to thematics because Abhishek, this is an eye-popping number. I don't remember ever seeing an inflow of 19,200 crores in thematic funds. Some of this would be because the NFOs are thematic in nature, right? I think SBI's NFO was the auto sector NFO. But again, yes. What further intelligence can you share with us on this huge number and the trend, more importantly? Because the purists will say that handle thematics will care, don't go overboard with thematics in your portfolio. But these numbers are absolutely, gravity defying.
So what you're saying is totally making sense. I think the numbers in itself is a departure from any of what any of us would have expected. Having said that, the fact is that it also shows, and this is more so how we are thinking about it, when we draw up our plans. The breakup is important to understand. One is that clearly some of these themes, some of these sectors have a far larger representation than it used to have earlier, combined with the fact that the policies and reforms are really been something at the back of every investor and every investment manager's mind, where they have more confidence in terms of backing these themes. Combine that to the fact that the investor in itself has evolved. And let me qualify that statement by first of all saying a large part of it is driven by the returns that they see. But then there is a large part of the investor community which is evolved and who wants to literally participate in some of these themes without really leaving it to the fund manager's discretion. And I think a lot of that is what is driving the thematic and sectoral fund flows.
Ah, okay. I must also point out, I'd completely forgotten about this. There was also an HDFC manufacturing fund that I think came out in this period.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that, I think, mopped up over 9,000 crores as well. So there's one large fund house, SBI with their auto fund. There's HDFC with the manufacturing fund.
Yes.
And we're seeing these absolutely gigantic numbers on the thematic side.
Yeah. So my sense is the SBI fund is still not captured in the flows, but it's more the HDFC fund and some of the earlier thematic funds which are getting captured into the flows yet.
Oh, okay. So maybe the SBI fund gets captured into next month's data. So this was largely on the HDFC manufacturing side. So Abhishek, your sense, I mean, these are some of the biggest fund houses that we're talking about. But will we see medium-sized fund houses also keep coming out with more thematics? Is that the construct? Where else would you incrementally going down the year? Where else? Which other category do you expect to see bigger funds coming to?
No, so I can't speak for the entire industry, but I can tell you what we are talking and what we are hearing from some of our peer sets. Some of these sectors and themes, specifically the manufacturing, combine that to maybe BFSI funds for fund houses who don't have that as a separate fund, and healthcare, which essentially are more structural themes and which are pegged to be growing faster than the broader nominal growth of the economy. Are these themes, are these segments which will clearly show its representation? If I may, I would only add, for the benefit of investors, to say that just don't get into it because the near-term returns have been great. Please do review it from a perspective, say, are these broad enough themes? Do they have a larger representative set at the back end? So that these themes and these funds can really be a longer part of your portfolio going forward. And you don't have to keep on twisting and turning when the performance goes through that cycle as well.
All right, Abhishek, we'll leave it at that. Thanks a lot for joining in and sharing with us your insights on the data from AMFI, the data mutual fund data coming out. The big takeaway is the net inflow number, 34,000 crores at a record high. Time for a short break. And up next, we put the spotlight on Heritage Foods, and it's been buzzing for the last 10 to 12 trading sessions. We'll tell you why on the other side.